All right, it's offering time. Come on.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. He is wonderful. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. He is wonderful.
So in this one, we're going to talk about this hard-pressed narrow path, because it is a hard-pressed narrow path that leads to everlasting life. So when you think about like olives, the way that you get oil from olives is you have to press them and crush them. Press and crush. And through that, only a little couple drops of oil comes from the pressing. So we are the olives that Yahuwah has to press and crush to try to get oil from us. And it's because of the sins of our ancestors, our forefathers. It's because of those things and the things from our past that the way to get back home is narrow and hard pressed. But to those who endure, the reward is great. Hallelujah. And so he tells us first, in order to get back home, to seek the old ways, to seek that ancient path that leads to everlasting life. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 6. In Jeremiah chapter 6, you have Yahuwah calling out to his people, asking them to return to the old ways, to return to the old path where the way is good. But just as they do today, our people would not listen. Barak Yahuwah. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16. Thus says Yahuwah, stand in the ways and see, and ask for the old ancient paths, where the way is good, and walk in it. So the narrow, hard-pressed path to get home is the ancient path back to the ways of righteousness when our ancestors walked before they rebelled. Look, if you do that, you will find rest for yourselves. You will find rest for your souls. Where? On the narrow path, on the old ancient paths. But look at this. They said, we will not walk in it. And that same spirit is upon the majority of his people to this day. 17. I raised up watchmen over you and said, listen to a voice of a shofar. But they said, we do not listen. So he has raised up watchmen and proclaimers to show you this is the way. This is how you get down this narrow path. But as it is today, as the same way it was from the past, our people would not listen. Hallelujah. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32, where here he says, listen and ask and follow the teachers that I have given you, the leaders that I have given you, and remember the days of old, the ancient past. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 3. I proclaim the name of Yahuwah and ascribe the greatness to our Elohim, the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are right ruling, are all of truth without unrighteousness. Righteous and straight is he. But this is a twisted and crooked generation, which has corrupted itself. They are blemished, and they are not his children. Do you do this to Yahuwah, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who brought you, who created you and established you? Number 7, remember the days of old and consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and let him show you, and your elders, and let them say to you. Let them say to you, let them teach you what? The old ancient past. Hallelujah. Let's get an example of what the elders are saying. Turn to Isaiah chapter 30. Isaiah chapter 30. Let's see what the voice of the fathers, the righteous one, and the elders are saying. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 20. Though Yahuwah gave you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, your teacher shall no longer be hidden, but your eyes shall see your teacher. Hallelujah. And your ears hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. Now I'm going to paraphrase. Neither turn to the right or to the left. So that is Yahusha guiding us. And then he's sending out his messengers and his teachers and proclaimers, telling you to follow, return to the ancient path, straight down the middle, and do not go to the right or to the left, but straight down the middle. Hallelujah. Look over at verse 15. Skip over back to verse 15. Look at this. It says, for thus says the Master Yahuwah, the set apart one of Yashar'Al, in returning and rest, you are saved. Look, in stillness and trust, that's your strength. Stillness and trust is your strength. Be still and trust. That is your strength. But look at that. But you would not. Hallelujah. A stiff-necked and hard-headed people who refuse to stick to the narrow path that leads to everlasting life. Hallelujah. Let's read about that. Matthew chapter 7. The hard-pressed, ancient, old past, old way of thinking, old way of doing things, the ways of our righteous forefathers. That is the path that leads to everlasting life. Matthew chapter 7, the hard-pressed, narrow path. Hallelujah. Verse 13. Enter in through the narrow gate. This is the voice of the elders and the teachers from the beginning, proclaiming, enter in through the narrow gate, the old ancient gates, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, that leads to death. And there are many who enter through it. Many, most, are on the broad path because they refuse to humble themselves and allow those who are teaching and trying to guide them in the right direction. They're refusing to allow, saying, we will not listen, we will not follow. 14, because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to everlasting life, there are few who find it. Too much pressure. Too much, I can't take it. Always getting on me. It's too much. The hard-pressed, narrow path, which leads to everlasting life. There are few who find it. Hallelujah. And so be it.
Give me a clean heart, so I may serve thee. Yah, fix my heart so that I may be used by thee, for I'm not worthy of all these blessings. Give me a clean heart, and I will follow